Yo, what is up everybody? I am Jay Coding, and today's video will be about the if and else statements. Now, what the if and else statements do is it can give you one or many options depending on what you input. Now, the way we are going to use these if and else statements is through the use of a scanner. Now, as you guys remember from my previous video, I taught you guys how to use a scanner, so let's just go over that briefly. Right here, the first word scanner. This is a scanner class. How do we know this is a class? When we use uppercase in Java, that is a class. We are calling for an input, and the word new here, it orders, it commands. It is commanding the creation of a method called scanner. Now this method right here is a non-static method. There are two types of method. If you have a paper and pencil, I suggest you write this down. The two types of methods are static and non-static. Now the reason this one is non-static is because it calls back to the class right here. Now an example of a non-static method is the nextInt method. The reason it is static is because it doesn't call upon the class. It doesn't say scanner.nextInt. So now we are using the scanner method and we are creating an integer called bonus. Now what we do is we want to test a series of if and else statements, and based on what we input, we want to have a different output. And then we made a statement right here, system.out.println, enter yearly sales, and then an arrow, and I put a space right here. And what I did after is I created an integer called sales. I set it equal to input.nextInt. Now what it says is, the input, what the user is going to type, is going to be an integer. Now this integer nextInt method is only possible when we import this package up here, java.util.scanner. We don't need this right here. I don't know why I had those two. You only need this to import the java.util.scanner. Okay, let's test out our first if and else statement. So for those of you who don't know what an if and else statement is, just think about it logically. If I say, if I have $5, I am at budget. So let's say I set budget to $3 and I have $5 in my pocket. If I have $5, I am over the budget. If I have less than $3, I am under budget. And lastly, if I have exactly $3, then I have the exact budget. Now the same thing applies with if and else statements here. So based on what the user is going to input, I made if and else statements. So now, as you guys remember, I created an integer called sales, which is going to be a number that the user inputs. So I said, if sales is less than or equal to, this comparison operator less than or equal to. This is what we use in Java. You always put those two right next to each other if you want to do less than or equal to. For those who remember from pre-algebra, you would put the line under it. But in Java, we take it literally, and we use the less than sign and the equal to sign and put them right next to each other, and these are called comparison operators. So anyways, if we set sales less than or equal to 500, we print out, this is your bonus plus bonus. So if you guys remember what bonus is up here, bonus is equal to 100. So if I type in 400, I will only get a bonus of $100. Now outside this if statement, I put this if statement in curly braces, and outside the curly braces I make an else statement. You guys are probably wondering, why don't I set another parameter for the else statement? Well, if the input isn't less than or equal to 500, then obviously it's greater than 500. Those are the only two options. So in the case that I type in 501, it'll print out, this is your bonus, and then I did bonus plus is equal to 100. So for those who remember, when I do plus equal to, I add 100 to the integer bonus. So bonus by itself is 100, but if I add another 100, it should be a total of 200. So let's run this code. Enter yearly salary. So if I want an extra bonus this year, I'll type in 600. This is your bonus, 200. Now let's run that again in the other way. Enter yearly salary, 500. This is your bonus, 100. So now let's go on to the next if and else statement. Just a reminder for those who did forget, this is how you do a multi-line comment. Now on to the next if and else statement. Now the logic works the same for all these if and else statements that I'm going to show you. So now in this if and else statement, I said, if the user inputs a value that is exactly equal to 500, print out, this is the right amount of sales. Anything else that the user types that is not equal to 500, print, this is not the right amount of sales. Every time we use equal to, this is the Boolean operator, and this is used in if and else statements. Let's run this code. I'll type 490. This isn't the right amount of sales. Now I'll run it again, and I'll type 500. This is the right amount of sales. So now on to the next if and else statement. I pretty much use reverse logic in this one. I pretty much flipped the if and else statements. So now I said, if sales are not equal to 500, say your sales aren't 500. Else, say your sales are 500. So this if statement limits it only to the case in which I type in anything except for 500. And then the else statement, which is outside of the curly braces, because it is giving an alternate argument, because it is giving an alternate case, I will print out your sales are 500. So let's enter the yearly salary, 490. Your sales aren't 500. Now let's run it again, and let's type 500. Your sales are 500. Now something you guys will notice with all of these if and else statements is the logic behind them. It's a two-way logic. If it's this, then it's this. If it's not this, then it's this. If it's less than or equal to this, then it's this. That is how if and else statements work. Now let's go into this if and else statement. This is also reverse logic of the original if and else statement that we used up here. It's the same logic. If the sales that I input are greater than or equal to 500, I print out my bonus with an additional $100. Anything that is not greater than or equal to 100, I print out the bonus without the additional $100. So let's run this. 500. This is your bonus, 200. So it took the original value of bonus, 100, and then it added another 100 over here. Now I concatenated bonus plus equal to 100 to the string, which you can do as I have taught before. Now let's run this again. We'll type in 600, and let's run it one last time and type in 400. Now the last two if and else statements. Let me just take away these comments, save the file, and now the same logic applies here with the other if and else statements, except I took away the equal to sign. Let's run this, and let's type in 500. I only get a bonus of 100. Let's type in 501. My bonus is now 200. Let's type in 400. I only get a bonus of 100. That would be an interesting world to live in if you just had $1 extra in sales and you got a $100 bonus. You know, everything in coding, almost everything in coding, is hypothetical, just so that you can build a good sense of logic. Finally, the last if and else conditions. It's the opposite logic without the equal to sign. This shouldn't be any different. Let's enter 500. The yearly bonus is 200. Well, let's type in 499. Yearly bonus is 100. Now let's type in 600. Yearly bonus is 200. Well, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace.